These novelty white privilege credit cards are generating strong feelings.
The reaction is a lot of anger, actually, and disbelief.
A veteran who wanted to remain anonymous because they're afraid of retaliation tells TMJ4 that a Milwaukee VA employee handed them out at the facility earlier this week, intended as a joke.
It's not the platform or the place. You're going to the VA for therapy and treatment.
Army veterans Otis Winstead and Levi Marker lead the Dry Hoot Great Lakes chapter. It's a nonprofit that supports veterans in a safe coffee shop setting. They're concerned this behavior will deter people from seeking care.
I don't want any veteran feeling like they shouldn't go over there.
I reached out to the Milwaukee VA about concerns that someone was handing out these cards on site. In an email, the Public Affairs Office called the alleged actions unacceptable, saying the Milwaukee VA is investigating and, based on the outcome, will take appropriate disciplinary action. Patrick Rickards is the executive director for an organization called Life After Hate, focusing on disengaging people from violent extremist groups and online hate spaces. In recent years, similar white privilege cards have popped up across the country in some schools and, in one case, a police traffic stop.
Is this violent extremism? Absolutely not. But I think we see, particularly in this country, it becomes a very slippery slope. With folks that begin to joke about ideology, with folks that begin to adapt some of the thinking.
Otis is confident the VA will address the concerns, but he wants to see more cultural competency training.
All right, Shalom, and all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Badash, and double honor to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. This is your brother Atazwan from the Great Millstone here in St. Louis. And this will be real quick. All right. We saw that little piece in the front, right? Where there was somebody that was passing around so-called white privilege cards, either as a joke or really being serious, because I don't see how you could think something like that would be funny. Okay, but these are the times that we're in, that things are really, really weird right now. All right, and we know that Jacob's trouble is at the door. All right, and we know that along with these decrees that are made by this man Esau Edom, all right, that you have the advent and the implementation of 15-minute cities. Okay, you have martial law. Okay, where they're using troops now. That's coming into effect. Okay, so all these things are ready here in Babylon the Great. And so the other component that's needed is what's known as a so-called race war, or will be a race war. All right, so there are those out there who are doing their part to try to incite this. All right, and it is part of the prophecy, right, for Babylon the Great to have a great deal of commotion, right, a great deal of violence and death, right, and famine and so on to happen in this place, okay? And so these things are in the workings, right? There are main cogs in this thing, but there are also smaller cogs that turn the wheel, if you want to say, all right, that's going to get all these different things, Salakia, moving. All right, so this is going to be real quick. We're just going to jump in. This is 2 Ezra 16. And when I saw that little clip, I got that from Endure These Last Days 4, I believe, is the brother's page. Okay, and all these little different things, they're going to add up. It may look like it's nothing, but it has its part in the downfall, right, of Babylon the Great. To start a fire, you just need something hot enough. You need an igniter, okay? And then eventually you'll have a full-blown blaze, you see? So it doesn't take much. People are already living their lives on edge right now. Okay, so all it takes is to be at that tipping point and one little small spark will start something that goes out of control. All right. Second Ezra 16 and 37 says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the ninth month brings forth her son with 2 or 3 hours in her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child come forth, they slack not at a moment." Right. And so all it takes is that one pain, right? Or a series of small pains. And then eventually, what? That water breaks and that baby is on its way. And that's sort of like these little things like this. And this is what made me think of this. These scriptures that we get ready to read, is that all it takes is something small to turn into something big. All right. Going on to verse 39, it says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose." All right, so these are days of evil that are coming. And once these race wars begin here in Babylon, because just because things are as a worldly person may think, nothing. I'm not going to put too much behind that. Almost everything now has a point, right? Almost everything now that we see that's going on, ever since last week, there's been a multitude of things that are leading people to know that, hey, something bad is coming, right? Okay, so no matter how small it may appear, eventually, again, it's going to turn into something, okay? Let's get back to verse 4. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose," right? Because we can't be attached. We're getting to that point where we can't be attached, all right, to Babylon, right? The things of comfort here in Babylon, that eventually a small spark is going to turn into a blaze, and then everybody's lives are going to change. Okay? "He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as if he shall not dwell therein." You have to be ready to leave everything behind at an instant. That's how bad it's going to get. "He that soweth as if he should reap not, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor, labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for their sins, saith the Lord." Right. So detach yourself. You better start getting used to being uncomfortable. Okay? "Like as a whore envieth a right honest and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity. When she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face, when he cometh that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth." Okay? "And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof." Right? So this is the time now to prepare yourself spiritually and mentally and even physically to a certain degree. Be ready to drop and move at an instant. Okay? Because things are going to get bad. You got people out here who really think, especially if Esau, Edom's ilk, that they're on top of the world. And then you got those, as they labeled them, the Proud Boys, okay, who are going to wreak havoc when even their privileges are revoked, okay? That's what's getting ready to happen here. Now, where are we? I think this is 15, yeah. Second Ezra 15. Let's jump down to 13. I don't want to make this real long. Just that particular piece, sparked this in me, you know, because those whose brothers may have served in the military as I did, there's a kind of a camaraderie, with other veterans. You've been through the same shit, with various different people, so to come into a facility like that, and try to create commotion and chaos, that's somebody who is more than likely, in my estimation, I'm just speaking as a man, probably somebody who isn't even a real soldier or was an actual vet, just trying to bring discord, between those men who are actually have that same, if you want to call it a bond when you were in, that's what it was, okay? But most vets respect each other, okay? I'll just say it that way. Anyway, verse 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with their fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. And as we always go into, the modern day sword is what? The pistol, okay? It's your heat, your steel, all right? And you got probably, if I'm not mistaken, the most amount of ammunition was sold during 2024, okay? So there's a lot of people out here packing a lot of heat, all right? For there shall be, 16, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, okay, for various different reasons, either to get home, right, to get to their loved ones, right, or to get to their stash, whatever it may be. They're going to lock this place down, all right, and you're not going to be able to do the things that you want, and people are going to take their own action. They're not going to listen to the mayor. They're not going to listen to the chief of police. They're not going to listen to the president, the governor. They're going to do what they want to do. That's the way this thing is shaping up, okay? Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? That tribulation is going to tear this place down, all right? It'll be one of the things that'll do it, all right? Where people are going to feel, they're going to be at their wits' end and feel like they have nothing to lose, all right? Because they've lost everything already. Verse 20, behold, said Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom, thus saith the Lord, power, okay? And so the things that they've done to the Israelites, all right, and because you do have people who just hate the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans without a cause, simply because they're just wicked, all right? You still have those people out there, you see? I think we can pretty much leave off from there. Like I said, I didn't really want to make this a real long lesson. Just get these few scriptures we got. This is Isaiah 19:1, and it reads, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, which will be this place, okay, on his swift cloud, which is his chariot. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? That's that internal war, that internal struggle, right, with the so-called same people who are called citizens here in Babylon the Great. They're going to turn on each other. I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother and every one against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. Okay? And each state is really supposed to be separate from the federal system, whether you know it or not. Each state is supposed to be run by its own quote unquote king or governor. Okay? But these people are going to start going against each other. And when you have a little card that says white privilege, and that's being issued out to so-called white people, right? That's bringing that division. That's Egyptian brother against Egyptian brother. All right, on a lower level. Okay. We get a couple more here. This is Luke 21:9. It says, "But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions," right? And something like that could be a commotion because it could lead to other things. See, the wars are not just mentioned about what's going on outside of the place, but also the wars, right? And as it says here, commotions within the borders of Babylon. Okay? "Be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." Right? Don't we have this planetary alignment that's going on? It started yesterday. And I believe they said it's going to last for a few weeks. Okay, where the planets are lined up. Okay, and that was supposed to come in, last night? I believe, January 25th. Okay. Let's go down to verse 12, and it says, "But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, deliver you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what ye shall answer, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist." Now this is speaking to the elect of the Lord, and particularly us as men who put our lives on the line week in and week out, all right, to preach the truth of the gospel, all right, that we may face this kind of persecution, okay, for standing up for righteousness and for truth, okay. But it goes into how these wars and commotions will begin to be prevalent, right, in the last days, right? And in that, you have all these different things of famine, food crisis, water, certain diseases and pestilences, all right? All these things are part of what's going to go on here in the next few, we could say, hell, starting from now. I mean, looking not now, but it will increase as we go forward, is what I'm trying to say. Salakia, right? These things are going to pick up as we go forward. And we get one more here, we'll be done. This is 2nd Ezra 9, I believe I'm in, right? Nope, Salakia 6. Did I want to start at 9? Yes. Verse 9, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." And this is what these people are so uptight about, because they're running out of time, right? From the elites on down to your regular, average, everyday Joe, who is a racist, if you will, all right? Who believes in white privilege, white supremacy, if you will, okay? The hand of the man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other questions Esdras asked thou not. I answered then and said, O Lord that beareth rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, whereof thou showest me part of the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be, Salakia, forgive me, sometimes this thing just does what it wants. Back in 14, verse 14. And it shall be as it were a great motion. No, let's back up to 13. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall not be moved. So Esdras is put into a vision, okay? And therefore when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, okay? And we're coming into the end. You know, we see all of these different things, right, that are happening in the earth now. And therefore when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved, for it knoweth that the end of these things shall be changed. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh, and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin, Salakia, to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, right? And we're coming into that time, right? Because why? Esau is the end of this age, and Jacob is what's coming up next, okay? Verse 20, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together, and the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. See? And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. It's going to be all types of hell breaking loose. People fighting, people shooting and killing each other, people robbing each other, people invading other folks' houses, okay? There won't be no water, right? There won't be no trash collection that day. There won't be no food in the supermarkets, okay? Verse 25, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, right? Which is the Lord's elect, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched, right? Because righteousness is going to come in. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which had been so long without fruit, shall be declared, right? So that's what's coming, righteousness. But before we could get to that point, all this hell has got to come, which includes a race war, all right? That's going to be a part of it as well. And so there are going to be these little things that happen, right, that's got to lead to that. That's going to be a part of the equation, all right, for the destruction of Babylon. All right, so I just wanted to give my response to that clip, okay, with the white privilege credit card. Be it a joke or not, you know, it is something that is on the table, right? And you have to consider it because the scriptures say so. Egyptian will be against Egyptian, all right? And that's even for Jakes who are out there in the world who are part of the 2/3, okay? You're going to get caught up in this mess, all right? Because you're still a Babylonian. You're still a heathen. You're still an Egyptian, as it were, okay? So that, I'll end the lesson right there. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, and double honor to our apostles and our elders, our bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'll see you all again real soon with another lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.